Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a Kizer double header, 2 EDC fixed blades coming out of Kizer, and I'm super excited. This was one of the most requested Kizers for me to check out in a long time. This is the Kizer Smolt. This is a Jonathan Styles design, and he has tons of other designs with Kizer. He has some folders, several fixed blades, and I like a lot of his stuff. You have a 2-part Kydex sheath with a drainage hole, tons of lashing points. I threw the Ulti-Clip 3x3 Ulti-Clip one there. That's just my favorite means to carry this. I clip it inside the pocket. It does come with a small Tech-Lock style belt clip attachment, so if you don't want to have to buy something, this definitely does work. You can carry it vertical, horizontal, canted, however you want, but for me, I like to carry it clipped to my pocket, so the Ulti-Clip works great for that. You do have a nice little push-off point. No rattle whatsoever. And I did notice that whenever I put this knife in here, I have to make sure the spine is up against here before I push it in there, or it'll kind of cock it. So just something to note. I don't know if they're all like that or just mine. So we have a fairly small fixed blade. That's why it's a nice EDC size, at least in my opinion. It's coming in at 6.5 inches long, and it has a 2.93 inch drop point blade of CPM 3V steel. 3V is an extremely tough steel. It's not stainless, but it is coated. It holds an edge really well, and I'm glad to see them putting it on a fixed blade. You do have some jimping up top, but it's not super grippy. Let's just say that. It does offer a little bit of traction, more of like an indexing point. I do like my jimping though on my fixed blades, so I wouldn't have minded it be a little bit deeper. It's just not cut that deep, and you have this coating on the top. You do have a sharpening choil that should give you a few sharpenings before to widen up, but you can easily open that up with a diamond file or a Dremel, depending on what you're comfortable doing that with, or you don't have to do it at all. They went with the straight black coating. It doesn't hold up all that great. I think it's a PVD coating. It's not the best. I much prefer their black wash finish, but you know, I guess with 3V, I'm not going to complain that much because like I said, it's not a stainless, so I wouldn't want it corroding on me. I did sharpen this up after I completed the testing, and this one is around 17 thousandths behind the edge, and it had an 18 degrees per side edge bevel. I just matched the bevel, and as you can see, it's not a huge bevel or anything. So let's see how this thing slices. Both knives came really sharp out of box, and this one was performing really well. It has good edge geometry, nice thin edge bevel, and slicing fairly well. Now it does have a pretty high tip on this drop point, and I noticed whenever I was trying to do the longer cuts that my natural arc was kind of sliding out of the cut. But as long as you're aware of that, you can adjust for it. You got to do mainly like a push cut if you have to do longer cuts. But so far so good. Now we're going to test the ergos and see how well this edge wants to bite. And as you can see, it's peeling this. I mean, I'm trying to put very light pressure so it doesn't bite into the wood. And we slowly start to increase the pressure. Now, one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat, being that your handle scale thickness is like under a 1/2 inch, I'm really having to bear down on the handle just to keep it sturdy, especially whenever I'm bearing into the wood. Not the end of the world, but you know, if you had to do this in a pinch, you could do it. It's just not going to be my first choice. I was able to get some pretty powerful cuts in there though, and nothing uncomfortable, nothing poking me at all, and I felt decently locked in that my card had given me nice grip. Now, doing cuts on a flat cutting surface, this is where that extra belly is really going to shine. I am not putting a whole lot of force into the rope, and it's going through it fairly easily. I'm doing the pointer finger grip, and I swap back and forth, but anytime you see me doing the pointer finger grip, you should know that it's got bite to it, and it's fairly sharp, because if not, I don't have enough strength in my finger to be able to push down if it's not super sharp. So it's popping it, mainly doing push cuts at this point, using that belly basically just to push forward on that edge, and it's doing a wonderful job. I like CPM 3V. It can take a very toothy edge, especially with like a 600 grit edge, and then strop it with a 12 micron. That's exactly what I'm going to do when I'm done with this testing, and it's going to be very sticky sharp. But doing great. We didn't cut a super huge piece here because I have a massive blister right now. But we managed to get through 130 cuts before I did run out of the piece I cut for this one, and it still feels like it's nice and sharp. So I call that a win for the 3V, and it's gonna, like I said earlier, it's gonna cut even better after I put my own edge on it or maybe even the second edge, but it always increases with performance after you sharpen it. But so far so good. Nice and clean cuts too. You're not seeing me having to do any like sawing motion cuts or anything. That just means it's very, very sharp. So as you can see, you can use that tip, but I'm at a 90-degree angle. I would just usually just go with the belly, but I just wanted to show that. But everything else did great. Now I will say on this tubing, both of them, that the black coating did cause drag. A little bit here, not as much, but that tubing really grabs the sidewalls and it made it a little bit more difficult. But once we got to the 10-ounce denim, that edge still feels nice. Tons of bite, making it very, very easy doing that pointer grip. Yeah, this one was a fun one, and I really, really hope we see more like this out of Kizer. I absolutely love it. All right, let's check that edge out. Yes, it's got some hang-ups up there in the very front, but that's to be expected. Not bad though. I could probably definitely strop it out. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that cutting footage as much as I enjoyed making it for y'all. Let's take a look at this handle. So you have contoured G10 scales with a black linen micarta inlay, and it's got these little grooves in there. So it's nice and comfortable. You have a very neutral handle, no crazy choils or anything. Fits my medium-sized hands perfectly, but if you had large, extra large hands, this one would probably be a little small for you. You do have a lanyard hole in the back right here, so if you wanted to attach the lanyard to be able to grab a hold to, if you had big old mitts, you could do that. It's great in this pinch grip, or if you want to get down to that tip to do some finesse cutting, you know, it'd be a good little hunter to do maybe some small game with. One thing that I noticed right away whenever I was doing the wood shaving with this is that this handle thickness is fairly thin. Coming in at 0.47. I like my fixed blades to be a little bit thicker just so they fill out the hand nicely, but this is a small fixed blade. You know, this is something to get a quick cut done and put it away. If you can do prolonged cutting, then you might want to grab something a little bit bigger than this, but you can definitely get the job done, as you can see in the video. But being that everything's nice and contoured, rounded, and there's no crazy troll areas, everything was nice and comfortable, nothing creating a hot spot in my hand. I'm happy that they decided to do bolt-on construction. That way, if I get it wet underneath there, I could definitely dry it off, especially being that this is CPM 3V. You have Torx T8 for your hardware screws. Your inlay is very nice and tight. Your handle fitment is nice. There's no high spots anywhere. Everything fits nice and flush. Now, the handle's only 3.57 inches long, like I said, so if you have large, extra large hands, you might not be able to get a 4-finger grip on it. Weight on it's 4.31 ounces, but you also got to take into account that I have the Alti clip on there. Quick size comparison with the Griffin Scout and the Kizer Mini Harpoon. Next up, we have the Artisan Cutlery Sea Snake and the Cansup Carvid S. And last, next to some folders, we have the Ontario Rat 2 and the Kizer Comet. Now for my nitpicks and complaints, I would have loved to see their black wash finish here. If I have to have black finish, I would have liked to have a little bit thicker handle scales, but it's a smaller knife, so you're not gonna be doing anything too crazy. I wouldn't have mind having a little bit sharper jimping up top. And I'm not the biggest fan of these clips. I would have loved to have like a pocket clip style, especially on something this small. But the Alti clip works great. And right now they're doing an early bird sale. You can get 10% off. These are only $62 with that 10% off. I think that is an outstanding deal for what you're getting here. And if you're interested in one of these, I will have a link to that down below in the description. Now let's check out the next one. Next is a Kizer Deckhand, and I think I'm even more excited about the Deckhand over the Smolt. That's just me personally. You have a fold-over taco style sheath, lashing points. I also slapped a Alti clip on there. That's a 3x3 Alti clip. It does come with like a Mermert style clip on there if you're going to carry it on your belt. You could clip this to the pocket if you wanted to as well, but I just prefer the Alti clip. You have a small push-off point right there, small little drainage hole. Nice positive click, no rattle. It holds it in there nicely. Now this one also has that black coating on it, and this one looks a little bit rougher. So what we have here is a design collaboration with Tyler Barnes. I don't know if he's had any other collaborations with him. This is the deckhand, like I said, and that must be his maker's mark right here. You have a nice sheep's foot blade, so this can be very versatile. You have a very slight belly to that tip, so you can use that tip to do drag cuts very easily, and you can easily do this pinch grip. Yeah, I like it. That's why I like this one so much. You should still be able to do the pinch grip, making cuts on a flat surface. We will find out in just a minute when we do the testing. You have an excellent sharpening choil, tons of sharpening light before it'll start to widen back here. I have some nice jimping up top. I don't understand. Let me show you all this. This is the deckhand right here, and this is a Smolt. You can see how this one is a good bit. You can actually see how deep it is right here. You can't even really see it on the Smolt. This one definitely grabs a hold of the thumb way better, and I like that, especially on my fixed blades. Once again, this is a smaller fixed blade. This one's coming in at 6.33 inches long with a 2.94 inch sheep's foot blade. Only has a 3.38 inch handle, so if you have large, extra large hands, you gotta definitely be careful with this one, because I just get a 4-finger grip on it. Now it does have a lanyard hole, so if you need to grab something back there, you could. It has a mid-height flat grind that comes down to around 20 thousandths behind the edge. Now this one had a 17 degrees per side edge bevel. I know that for a fact because I sharpened it up after I completed all the testing, and I was very happy to see that, and it kind of makes a lot of sense now. This particular one is in D2 steel. Unfortunately, I would have much preferred if this one would have been in 3V. Oh man. But their D2 is usually fairly good. We'll test it out and see how good it really is. Man, the Smolt came sharp, but the deckhand came next level sharp. Very toothy edge, gliding through this cardboard, and I can already tell this is going to be a fun one to use. It's definitely not struggling one bit. The handle's nice. I got a good grip on it, and I don't know the big difference between the two, between the Smolt and the deckhand. I think that the deckhand has a thicker handle, but it just feels a lot more locked in. And now we're testing those ergos and seeing if there's anything that, might be bothering me, and also seeing that edge bite. Now look at this. It's just peeling it once again. Very crisp edge, and we slowly start to increase that pressure, and I'm locked in. Very comfortable. I love that extra thickness really helps out, especially when you're putting a lot of pressure into something like this. And I could have done this for a while. I'm trying to see if I want to go with the hammer grip or put my finger up on the saber grip for control, but okay. Man, using that tip, little scalpel up there, that first one I just didn't put a lot of pressure into it. And we're going to see it. I think it should be able to cut everything on the flat surface. You have enough belly, I would think. And so far, so good. Now, I am getting drag again with that coating on to the tubing. Not so much here with the dense cardboard, but the tubing, yes. But very nice. Slicing very well. Very crisp edge at this point as well. And after blasting through the 10-ounce denim the way it did, if y'all could feel it on my end, I know that edge is still hair shaving sharp up there in the front. So whenever we get to the 1/2-inch sisal rope, I cut an extra long piece, and then I even grabbed another piece once I'm done, because right now you see me in this pointer finger grip. Yeah, it's very comfortable in that grip. And I'm applying very minimal pressure cutting this rope. So I'm just trying to see, usually a lot of the D2 I test after probably 120 cuts of the sisal rope and the other stuff I cut, the edge is usually pretty rough. So we'll see how this one does. We're going to cut until I at least run out of the two pieces that I cut. And even in that pinch grip, it's nice. Like I said, I have just the right amount of belly to where it's still easy to make these cuts. And that's why this blade shape is so versatile. The belly's not too abrupt to where when you're doing in-hand cuts, you don't slide out of the cut. And in this motion, you can either do the sawing motion, you can push forward on it, and you should be nice and locked in. But yeah, not slowing down in the least, and it's going to be a long one, so strap in. We keep cutting, and the whole entire time, especially with this first piece of sisal rope, it doesn't feel like it's slowing down. Now, that could be that it's got a toothy edge to it left, and it's making these cuts. We will test the edge out after, and I'm not expecting it to be all that great once I finish with the sisal rope, I'll be honest. But I'm excited for how well it did. All the way till the very end, we get through 250 cuts. That is outstanding. And if it has any edge up there in the front, I'll be happy. But I'm sure I could probably strop it back. And like I said earlier, I've had good experiences with their D2. Now, I would still like it to be the 3V, of course, or their 154 CM. But I'm just trying to say that their D2 isn't all that bad. Definitely better than 9CR18, but that is a stainless, so just depends on what you're looking for. Yep, we keep going. We're like the Energizer Bunny. We keep going and going. All right, let's check that edge now. I'll be surprised if it has anything up in the front. Low hang up there. Yeah, it's not bad. It's got a few catches. Right there's one. And it's a little rough in the front, but hey, at the price point and this being a factory edge, I'm okay with that all day, every day. So when it comes to carry, this one carries really, really nice in the pocket, especially with the Ulti-Clip. I did use this for a little bit. You can definitely clip this to the pocket. It just slides around a little bit because there's not a whole lot of tension. But if you want to carry it on your belt, that little part hooks the belt loop fairly well, depending on your size of your belt. I'm not the biggest fan, like I said, of this black finish on here, but they also offer this one in a stonewash blade. And I like this one so much that I've already bought, I got on the early bird sale and I bought the stonewash version of this one. And I think like the first 50 people who buy one, it comes with a red micarta scale as well. So hopefully I get one of those because I would love to be able to mix and match them. I like the fact that we have bolt-on scales once again because this is D2, not stainless. So if I get water underneath there, I can clean it out. You have a lanyard hole, like I said earlier. Love these canvas micarta scales. They got a big old chamfer and they're very, very grippy. I am super locked in, especially with that jimping. I think they could have even benefited by putting a little jimping up here for doing this pointer finger grip, but not the end of the world. This handle was super comfortable in everything I did. Nothing poking, prodding me or anything. You got somewhat of a guard right here. You also have a black G10 liner underneath there. Everything's nice and flush. No high spots at all. The weight with the Ulti-Clip's 5.34 ounces. Not bad. Quick size comparison with the Kizer Smolt and the Kaiser Mini Harpoon. Here it is next to the Real Steel Hunter and the LT Wright Patriot. And last we have the Essie Azula and the Bradford G Necker. Now for my nitpicks and complaints, I would have loved to have a black wash finish on here. It would be even more awesome if they would have had this one in CPM 3V as well. It would have been great to have a hollow grind here just so it would stay thin for a good amount of time. But all that said, I love this fixed blade. Like I said, I bought a second one right away once that early bird sale started. That early bird sale, I think, lasts through the 7th. So you got 2 days. I don't know when exactly it ends, but this one right here you can get for $44 with the 10% off on the early bird. Well worth it. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, I will have both of these linked down in the description, and I will also put the 3x3 Ulti-Clip linked as well because a lot of people ask where to get those whenever I do show them. If you have any questions about anything in particular, feel free to ask me down in the comments. I'll do my best to get to you, and I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing Saturday. I will see y'all on the next one.